Independent contractor versus employee. Nathan, he's my partner here at Tyler and Bursch. My name is Bob Tyler. We are a business law firm handling litigation and transactional work, a lot of employment. That question is probably the biggest one we get. Must this particular person be an employee, or can they be an independent contractor? The laws changed dramatically over the last few years, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Yeah, a few years ago, the Supreme Court pretty much rewrote the independent contractor test. They called it
in California.
In California, they call it the ABC test, and then it was later codified by the legislature with Proposition AB 5. And essentially, it's a three-prong test now. The three aspects of the test are how much control does the employer exert over the worker. The second part of the test is the work that's being performed by the worker, is it within the usual scope of your business? And then the third part of the test is this the type of work that's usually done by an independent contractor? I think the third element's a little bit of a, it's a little bit circular, but those are and so the two main parts are really, the first two parts of the test are the biggest things you look at.
So the IRS has its own, I think it's a 21-part test, and from a federal perspective, and then California kind of followed that for years and years and years, and there was this very vague, loosey-goosey situation where you never really, it was very difficult to know for sure whether someone could or could not be an independent contractor. And employers typically, or business owners often say, look, I don't want to have the overhead. I want to hire people as contractors. And so but it has become much more defined in California now, and it's pretty difficult for someone to qualify as an independent contractor now, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult, and it's really that middle, that second prong of the test, which is this within the scope of your usual business? It used to be you've got a business and you're selling goods, services, and you'd hire independent contractors as salespeople. Well, those salespeople are actually now directly influencing and promoting your business. And so you would fail the second part of that test in most instances.
I can put you on the spot. A couple quick questions. Okay, we're a law firm, and we've got a problem with our plumbing. We call up a plumber to come fix the plumbing. Yep. Independent contractor or employee?
That would be an independent contractor.
Seems easy, right?
Yep.
And because separate business, it's not within the scope of what we do as a law firm. Now, let's take a homeowner who hires a landscaper to come out once a week to do landscaping for them. Independent contractor or employee?
Independent contractor.
Right. They're not even in a business.
Right.
But what happens if you have a landscape company that sells their service as a landscape company, and they hire or they bring an individual who specializes in doing concrete, and they include that service as part of what they do? Is the person laying the concrete employee, independent contractor?
That one's closer. It would probably depend on the specifics of that relationship, because obviously your landscaper, concrete's within the scope of that, but perhaps the contractor is also, he's got his own concrete company and he's doing work for several other businesses. If that was the case, it's probably an independent contractor. If he's only doing work for you, probably an employee.
Trying to get you to an employee one. So, okay, how about a church choir director who gets paid to oversee the choir? They've got some special skill. Let's say that choir director is a teacher during the week at a school normally. And on weekends and Wednesday nights or services, they are in charge of directing the choir.
Sure.
And they get paid a few $100 a week.
Choir directors are probably going to be deemed employees for most churches. And one of the reasons are usually the churches have specific requirements on, this is the type of music that we sing here. We like hymns, or we like worship songs, or whatever it might be. You're usually setting the schedule for them. We're going to need you here for choir practice once a week. And on Sundays, here are your job duties and here are expectations. Churches tend to exert a fair amount of control over their choir directors.
And it's generally within the scope of what a church does.
Yes.
So it's within the scope of the business. And now there's some other nuances that we don't really have time to get into on this one. We'll get into it a different time. But there's this ministerial exception and things like that apply. We'll get on it. We'll do another video on that one.
Sure.
But let me give you one last example. So let's say that I have a sales company and I sell widgets. All right. And I hire. I'm here located in Southern California. but I want someone in New York to sell my widgets. And I have one individual who I give an exclusive rights to sell my widgets in the state of New York. Is that person an independent contractor or an employee?
It's going to be an employee.
Why?
They're within the scope of your business, and generally California law is going to apply to California businesses. So if you've got somebody living out of state, the policy in California is pretty strong, where if you're doing work for a California company, they're going to apply the California independent contractor test.
And that's really important. We see that a lot. Employees in other states still being subjected to California law. I would imagine that's going to be tested here in the future at some point in time with regard to choice of law provisions and that sort of thing. But Nathan, thank you. Independent contractor versus employee. It's a complicated question. You can visit us at www.tylerbursch.com. You can contact us at 951-600-2733 and be happy to speak with you. Thanks.